Confession of a Dieta. Last summer, I reached my weight loss goal and celebrated by treating myself to a vacation. During the holiday, I indulged in unrestricted eating and traveled around using subways and taxis. 10 days later, I returned home, looking just as I did before and ready to diet to shed the extra kilos gained in Bangkok. I managed to lose 4 kilograms and then gained back 6 kilograms. Since January, I've started and restarted dieting at least 8 times. The longest period I've stuck to a diet was a month, and the shortest was a week. And it's not just this year. Last year was a similar story, and the year before that too. As far as I can remember, I've attempted weight loss and failed miserably because ultimately, I always end up gaining more than I lose. Most of us know how it feels to struggle with weight loss because many of us are on a mission for permanent weight loss. I realize that the reason we never succeed in actual weight loss is because of our yo-yo dieting habits. Instead of focusing on a healthy lifestyle and exercise, we opt for quick fixes because of the habit of wanting immediate results. But this rarely works. However, it's not just your waistline that has to endure all the yo-yoing. According to research, repeated crash dieting raises metabolism-regulating hormones like insulin and elevates sex hormones, including estrogen. These changes make you start gaining weight around the midsection, which is associated with insulin resistance, diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Despite knowing the pitfalls of yo-yo dieting, many of us still continue to engage in it. Talking to some chronic dieters, I realized that low self-esteem and body image issues are the driving forces behind many people's pursuit of crash diets. For most people, the issue isn't health and balance but rather looking fabulous and feeling comfortable. This is what some chronic dieters have said. Currently, I weigh 79 kilograms and I know I need to lose weight. My cholesterol level is high, and my BMI puts me in the obese category. My doctor has repeatedly advised me to lose weight immediately. But the truth is, losing weight is not easy. I have been trying to lose 10 kilograms since 2013, and although I occasionally manage to lose 3 to 4 kilograms, I always gain back more than I lose each time, and in the end, I become heavier and heavier. There are times when I feel guilty to the point of only drinking water and eating fruits for a few days. I lose 1 or 2 kilograms that way. Then, I feel weak and lethargic to the extent that I have to revert to eating rice and chicken twice a day and snacking on bread and pastries. The 1 or 2 kilograms I lost will come back along with interest. This yo-yo dieting is harming me more than benefiting me. I don't know how to lose weight. I look at myself in the mirror and cringe. If this is how I feel about myself, I can only imagine how others see me. I want to feel good about myself, but with this struggle to lose weight, I feel like I'm on the brink of depression. I feel like everything is spiraling out of control. How I feel about my body depends on the people around me. I look at skinny people and envy them. Whenever I meet someone new, I always size them up. If she seems overweight, then I feel slim, fit, and satisfied with myself. But if someone is skinnier than me, then I become anxious and start to look for flaws in them. I don't want to do this, but it seems like I can't help myself either. I've tried this diet or that diet. Right before my best friend's wedding, I tried the GM diet. After the wedding, I followed the Atkins diet. I find that these diets do nothing for me except fuel my sense of deprivation because I imagine myself shedding this weight, but rarely do I achieve it. A friend told me she lost 7 kilograms on the Atkins diet, but it didn't work for me. I wonder if I will always be envious or if I'll also be the object of envy. I feel ashamed to look so overweight that I avoid meeting friends and skip parties. But my weight issue not only affects my social life. My stomach is often upset, and I'm always low on energy. Even on days I start with fresh fruits and good intentions, by the evening, I'm back to adding 2 teaspoons of sugar to coffee and chewing on Cadbury chocolate and having pizza for dinner. I've planned diets that I believed would transform my appearance. It did. But for the worse. While some diets made me look gaunt, sleepless, and drained of brightness on my face, others I couldn't stick to after a few days and had to restart multiple times. All of this has wrecked not only my appearance but also how I perceive myself. My confidence has plummeted, and I see no way out of this downward spiral. A sad and lonely girl, I was a carefree eater, unconcerned about my weight until my college years. Then, a few innocent comments recently changed everything. My brother's friend remarked that I looked just like my mother, and then this 20-year-old girl called me auntie. These remarks hurt me to the point where I dove headfirst into a crash diet regimen, swapping my regular meals for diet foods. Within a year, I lost 10 kilograms, and my waist size went from 30 inches to 26. Now, I struggle to maintain that size. I never had an issue with my weight until someone made me feel truly awful about myself. Think about it, these people aren't that significant, but it just goes to show how insecure we feel about our bodies and the lengths we'll go to achieve self-acceptance. I wasn't healthy before, and I wasn't satisfied with my body, yet I still chose to diet and lose weight. The problem is, I'm fairly certain that if someone were to comment on it again, I'd go back to dieting, and that's not a good feeling. The confession of a mother-in-law. I thought having a daughter-in-law would lighten my burden. The most tense relationship in human history is the one between a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law. Perhaps this age-old struggle is the only thing that hasn't changed over time. It's what makes for comedy as well as tragedy. My relationship with my mother-in-law is peculiar. We're certainly not friends, but we're not enemies either. We don't like each other much, but we don't disdain each other either. Though my mother-in-law is quick to scold me at any opportunity, no matter how small, she will also stand up to defend me when a rude relative says something negative about me. If you see pictures of us together, you might mistake us for mother and daughter, but if you see us together in real life, you'll surely not make that mistake. The tension in our body language clearly shows that fate has thrust us together, and neither of us can do anything to change it. Grand battles between daughter-in-law and mother-in-law are a frequent theme in literature worldwide. From Chaucer's The Lawyer's Tale to Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, there are cases of intense power struggles between mothers and the women their sons marry. The competition between two women bound by a man, both son and husband, is an age-old story. However, I don't think it's encoded into women's DNA as commonly believed. In my experience, the root of the conflict lies in the belief that the husband-son mentioned is a perpetual child, in need of care and often management by women. Both sides have their own opinions and neither is willing to yield, leading to all sorts of trouble. According to Dr. Terry Apter's book What Do You Want From Me? Conflicts often arise from the assumption that each person is criticizing or belittling the other woman. But this mutual discomfort may have less to do with actual attitudes and more to do with enduring stereotypes about women that few of us can completely shake off. But as a daughter-in-law, I can quickly blame my mother-in-law for the differences we have, yet I also know that like any story, there are two sides, and they may have their own perspective. Research shows that mothers-in-law often feel excluded from their sons' lives by their wives. I began to wonder what made my mother-in-law become a monster. I asked some mothers-in-law, including mine, about what made them uncomfortable and why they acted the way they did. In doing so, I inadvertently created an opportunity for them to express themselves. I didn't intend to have an uncomfortable relationship with my daughter-in-law, and I truly don't know when we started to behave awkwardly towards each other. I can't recall if she was rude to me or if I was hostile towards her, but now we are distant to the point where sometimes I feel one of us is about to snap and say something hurtful. Before my son got married, I remember all of us going out and seemingly getting along well. However, everything changed after the marriage. Now, it seems like my daughter-in-law scrutinizes everything I say and interprets it against me. We certainly aren't hostile, but it's a strained relationship. And sadly, because we don't really know what went wrong, we can't do much to fix it. I wonder if the mother-in-law-daughter-in-law relationship was doomed from the start, or if that's just the way it has to be. Mother-in-law puzzled. To be honest, I don't like my daughter-in-law, but I also know I have to find a way to like her because my son's life is now intertwined with hers. The reason I don't like her isn't serious. It's not that she's rude or anything, but she refuses to blend in with our family. I understand that it's hard for a new spouse to be open and comfortable with their in-laws, but that doesn't mean you should avoid all gatherings and only say hi and then disappear into the room when family members come over. You have to be willing to make an effort. Like my daughter-in-law expects us to be understanding and not care about our own feelings. And I don't like that at all. It's a relationship of give and take, and you have to meet us halfway. Mother-in-law almost angry, my daughter-in-law doesn't like me. I can tell by the way she avoids eye contact with me when we talk and sometimes doesn't answer my questions. It makes me really sad because when my son decided to get married, I was so happy. I thought finally I'd have a daughter I've always wished for, but in my case, I don't even have a daughter-in-law. Now there's a stranger living in my house. A stranger I don't know how to behave with. I think I must have said or done something to make her behave this way because I've seen how she interacts with others. Sometimes I try to joke and chat with her like a friend to get her to open up, but she doesn't respond. You can only do so much when the other person doesn't reciprocate and keeps pushing you away. Lonely mother-in-law. I admit I was resentful towards my daughter-in-law when she first stepped into the family. I tried to get her to listen to me and follow my wishes. And she did initially. But I should have known it's too good to last. Today's girls have their own thoughts, and they don't want to adhere to traditions and rules if it hinders their lifestyle. My daughter-in-law doesn't want me to pass the responsibilities on to her. And I just want to do that and keep insisting, while being angry why she keeps refusing, because not every daughter-in-law has to help the mother-in-law manage the household, right? I've taken on all the household responsibilities from my mother-in-law. So isn't it someone else's turn now? Someone younger. It's my turn to rest. I thought having a daughter-in-law would lighten my load. I've never been so wrong. The essence of a mother-in-law. I get along really well with my daughter-in-law. I know many people would be surprised to hear this, but we don't have any issues. I don't hesitate to take credit here because right from the start, I knew there could be many things wrong in this relationship, so I made an effort to be part of their lives but still stay out and give them space. This way, there's no room for arguments. I think all mothers with sons should understand that a daughter-in-law isn't trying to snatch your son away from you. She doesn't want a grown-up child of her own like you do. The mother-in-law also needs to understand that the daughter-in-law will definitely take time to open up and consider the in-laws as her own family. Give her some space, don't drown her in rules and chores, and let her be. In the end, you'll benefit from it. I know I have.